one thing that I think everybody should know how is to tie a correct knot. I've used the turbo wire, and I also used the Stay Fix, the Speedrite brand. And
Yeah, I don't know what
I
the
haven't
brand
bought
name
it
is.
twice. It had more, but it's just it seemed to make you bleed more, and
The wires are looser in it.
Yeah,
Like they
and-
stick out more.
yeah.
Yep.
But I've kind of stuck with it. Like I said, I've got some that's in its teens, and it's the same.
Yep.
So it's geared, so every time you turn, it turns 3 times.
The reel turns 3 times.
Or when you're walking. So you're actually allowed that, like on
Yes.
how that exists.
Yeah.
That's what these are.
You can buy those without gears too.
Yeah.
But I made that mistake once, and I went and bought a gear and just put it in.
Okay.
So
So I probably have 4 that are saving gear.
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. And both arms are sore when you're done.
Yeah.
One from holding it, and yeah.
I guess with respect to the electric net, as long as you always have them electrified and don't use them as a non-electrified fence, I have had 10 years good use out of most of them. If I use them in the winter time, because we do, and then they're not electrified, they certainly break down quicker because of UV light. The worst I've had is 5 years. The best I've had is 10 years out of them before you have to replace them. And as Mike said, that the older reels that he has, he uses them for gates. That's basically what we do with the older nets. Is we'll cut them at whatever length, and take out the worst part of it and make a shorter net that you can use for either small areas that you need fenced off or what have you. And again, if I'm cutting those, I have to make sure that all of my strings connect the same as they do on the end here, because if it's not tied and connected like you see here up to the top, you're gonna have dead wires, and that's the last thing you want is dead wires in this. So yeah, we carry I probably said this already, but we carry our fence tester in the bike. When you set a fence up and you're ready to leave, the last thing you do is check to make sure there's actually power in it. As much as we can get in it, but if it's below 2,500 volts, then I'm fretting. I still may not, like if I'm busy, sort of like Dean said, life is life. And, I'll say, oh, well, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that I don't have an issue. But we always have dogs behind it as well, right? Like this is more a visual, physical barrier, but the dogs is the true barrier for keeping the coyotes out.
And I think it's just like the regular fence, in July, if your fence is covered in grass, in the morning it might be 2.5, 3, right?
Yeah.
But it was the April, May, June before that everything got trained, including the wildlife, and
Yeah.
right, and by lunchtime it's going to be there's going to be more voltage in it. So
Yeah. The other thing I'll comment, we have our fencing system is portable. We have a solar panel, our fencer's on it. And so if I'm getting low voltage on this, I go back to my ground rod and I make a little trickle irrigation on the ground rod. 2-liter bottle is better, but you water that ground rod down and you'll be amazed the difference it makes on the voltage in your fence.
I've got everything. I've got pigtails, I've got plastic posts of various makes and models, and yeah, most of them are in their teens for age. I break some every year. If I don't put a tarp strap on, they'll blow off onto the road behind me, so I've probably lost a few that way. But yeah, I kind of a bit of everything and kind of try to take care of them, and they've been used and used and used. They're hundreds and hundreds of times. We've got some government programs now, but there's very little information on how to actually build a fence, what is good quality stuff. And I think one thing that I think everybody should know how is to tie a correct knot. Now, does anybody here know how to correctly tie a high tensile fence knot? Yeah.
Well, almost there's things it doesn't turn out every time.
No, and the thing, it's like the first ones I do in the spring can be, you hope it's not close to the house or the road. So I don't have to look at it, and neither does anybody else. But, you know, and I know they make those nice crimps, but, you know, if you were going away with your family or you're on the way home from church on Sunday and you have to fix a fence, you should know how to do a knot. And so it's pretty simple, and you can look on YouTube how to do them, you know, so around. And don't be cheap on the amount of overhang. So it's looped like this, like that, and then wrap. You can make them real tight if you want and pretty, or you can make them a little bigger. And then if I can do it. Yeah, and those are just a couple sort of hacks. Other thing, I guess, if it's not sold as an insulator, don't use it as an insulator. So a piece of rubber tire, you know, a piece of gas line or garden hose is cheap on the front end, but wow, it's gonna cost you later.